Yep. Welcome back, guys, to another YouTube tutorial. It's a live stream, and yeah, we're going to be doing what I just have in front of at the thumbnail. It's a sidebar navigation, and this is going to be done with only HTML and CSS. So it's going to be nice, and yeah, it's my first live stream in this channel, so I was like, nah, let me switch it up a little bit and do something different. So yeah, that's it. And you know what? Let's get to it. Let's get to it. The first thing we're going to do is the doc type as usual. Gonna connect the CSS real quick because I don't want to forget that. Save it. The title will be, let's just say sidebar navigation. Save that. And I'm soon going to start live server, but I just want to finish the whole head section. After that, the only thing we need to do is, yeah, I'm going to open live server. Yep, so we have our live server. You can see the sidebar there. Now we're going to use Font Awesome, so I'm just going to bring out the Font Awesome library at this website here, cdnjs.com. And yep, we'll take the CSS, just copy the tag right there and paste it here, save that. And now we're done with the head section, nothing else. And this is without JS, so we don't need to link the JavaScript. This is only HTML and CSS. Now in the body, we'll start with an input. Oh, you know what, let's leave the input for now. We'll start with the header. And in the header, we'll have a div called left area. And inside that, we'll have a h3 tag. And I'm just going to put coding, and inside I'll put a span tag because I want this to have different colors. So I'll be able to color the span a certain color, and I'll color the coding a certain color with the H3. Now after that, I'm gonna have a label, and this label I'm gonna put it for check. And now it's time for us to go font awesome. Font awesome icon. I prefer the other side, not this one. Yeah, this. Yep, and the first icon we're gonna get is just a basic, like a bar icon. So just write bar. Yeah, just this. Copy it. Put the icon in there. And before I forget, I'm just gonna put the ID too. Call it sidebar underscore BTN for button. I know I'm gonna share my screen now because I actually want us to see it while we're doing it. Yep, so this is what we have. Now the next thing is we'll have another div with which is right underscore area. And inside this div we'll have an anchor tag. Put the hash so when you click on it, it just reloads the page. Like it doesn't reload the page, it just stays at the same page. And I'll give that a class of, a logout button, but you can give it whatever you want. And here I'm going to put sign up. Just copy it. I'll put another one. And this is going to be login. Saving it there. And that's it for the header. The next part we'll have a div, we'll call it sidebar. And then we'll have the center tag. And inside the center tag, I'm going to have an image. And the image, I already put my images here. So this is the image we're using. Call it profile picture or profile pic. And also give it a class of profile pic or profile underscore image. Under that, we'll have a h4 tag, and I'm just going to put Sam codes. Probably know the name of the picture we're using, but you get what I mean. The whole point is that you use this and you add whatever you want yours to be. Yeah, and after the center, it's time to actually have some icons, and the next thing I'm going to put there is we'll have an anchor tag, put hash or the pound sign or the hash sign. I don't know what sign is that. And we go to font awesome again. Click back. And the icon we want this time is, I want the desktop icon. Yep, so I copy that and paste it right there. And after this, I also want to have some words beside it, because if you look at the thumbnail, you can actually see what's happening. We have some words beside it. So the way I'm going to do that, I'll use the span tag. And why we're using span tags is that span tags are inline elements. We couldn't use a div in this instance, but for this, what we're doing right here, using a span tag, it actually helps out because with a span tag, it's going to stay in the same line. Yeah, if you don't understand this, check out my HTML tutorial. I talk about this, the differences, because sometimes I see people don't really understand or why you're using span or why you're using div in different scenarios. It's because they actually, div are block elements, span tags are inline elements or inline tags. Yep, so we have the first one. Oops, saved the wrong page. So if we scroll down now, yep, we can see tutorial, the icon, and tutorials. And this project right here, you could easily use this for a portfolio, like a portfolio website. This actually, I think it's a really nice, it's different from what other people use. So now I'm just gonna copy this and paste it, change the font awesome icon to, yeah, since we're kind of doing it like a portfolio slash dashboard or a login system, I'm gonna put this GitHub icon. I don't know why GitHub is a cat. Someone should explain why GitHub is a cat icon. I don't get it, but it looks cool. Paste that, and here we put GitHub. After the GitHub, we'll put a YouTube icon. Yep, gonna remove this, copy this, paste it, font awesome, YouTube. And for sure, you can use whatever you want. I'm just like, you could use, depending on what you want the website to be, you would use icons that actually navigation for that website. So now paste it, save it. And instead of GitHub, we can put YouTube, or we can just put videos. Save that. Yep, the next icon is gonna be like a blog. If you have a blog website, or you have, is basically navigation. So if you have other files that, like, you have a blog, you could easily link this to your blog. So here would put blog, and the icon is just blog. So instead of really searching, we just write blog here, and we should get the right icon. Okay, it's not fab, it's fast. Yep, and now we can see the blog icon right here. The next one, I'm gonna copy this again. Put RSS, and here I'm just gonna put updates. And the last one is gonna be a contact me. Say far, FA envelope. Or just contact. Now we save it. And when I enlarge this, we can see we have all the icons, all the navigations, and we have the image. We have the kind of like logo. We have our login, sign up. So yeah, we're getting there. Now that we're done with this, all we need to do is have another div. We'll call it .content. And yeah, we'll use this for later. Save it. And yeah, that's it for the HTML. Nothing too much, really basic. Most of the work is done in the CSS because we're not using JavaScript for this. So this is going to be heavily reliant on CSS. Yep. First thing we need to import the fonts because yep, and I'm using Poppins. Yeah, this right here. Copy it. And yep, paste it right. Oops, well, I didn't copy it right. I'm just gonna enlarge this. Paste it right there, and I'm just gonna copy the whole font family again so I don't have to write that. And we're done with the font awesome. We're done with yeah, all this. So now for the body, I'm gonna set the margin to 0, give it a padding of 0.2, and paste the font family. Save that. Now we can see everything is switched up. Font looks way cooler. And we start with the header. So for the header, I'm gonna put a position of fixed so I can move some stuff. Give it a background of this color right here, kind of bluish. Well, kind of grayish actually. Add a padding of 20 pixels. Give it a width of, yeah, 100%. So it takes 100% of where it is. It takes the whole screen. And the height of 30 pixels. So yeah, you can see that there. Now it's the dot left underscore area and the H3. For that, we'll give it a color of white. Add a margin of 0. And yeah, add a padding of 20 pixels. Actually, no. We just give it a position of fixed. And also move it to the left 300 pixels. And also what I want to do is I'll use text transform to make everything capital, say uppercase, add a font size to it of 22 pixels, and also a font weight of 900 pixels, 900. Now, you know I told you we added a span tag to it. So if I just say left area space span, we can change the color. And this is the color code we're using. Now it's time to add some for the logouts for the two buttons. We know we give them the same class name, so we just call it logout btn. Give it a padding of 5 pixels. Add a background of 19 B3 D3. Remove the text decoration. And also move it to the right with float right. After that, we add a margin top of minus 30 pixels. And also a margin right of 40 pixels. Yup. After that, we need to give it a border radius. Yup. And I'm a fan of border radius. I just like the way they switch up the the buttons. They make them look extra cool. Yeah, maybe 4. Yeah, I think 3 is better. Switch the font size, 15 pixels, and also font weight of 600. Change the color to white, and also add a transition. Oh, you know what? We'll add the transition later, but for sure we need to add a transition for it to actually make it look when we hover on it to actually make it hover the right way. And this is how it looks so far. You can see we have the navigation. It's looking quite decent. We have our icons. So now it's actually time for the sidebar. and says dot sidebar. And for the sidebar, I'll give it a background color. And the background is going to be this code 2F3 23 Y 2F323A. Also give it a margin top. Yeah. For Dev Samurai. Yeah, man. Thanks, man. Thanks for that. Hope you're doing good. And also add a margin top. 70 pixels. Add a padding top of 30 pixels. And also a position of fixed. Put the left, we'll make it 0. And also add a width to it. 300 pixels. And the height is going to be 100% because we want it to take the whole height horizontally. So the height, we just put 100%. And yep. Now it's for the image because this image is way too big and we need to get it looking way more better. Say that sidebar dot profile. No, I'm just gonna go and copy it because I don't wanna give it a class of profile image. Okay, so for sure we set the width. Put it to 200 pixels. Yep, now looking way more better. Give it a height if we want. Yeah, we need to give it a height. 200 pixel. And after that, what we need to do is give it some border radius. You see the power of border radiuses? Seriously, just gives this 100% and voila, we have the whole icon kind of feel. And just add a margin top. No, margin bottom actually. Add a margin bottom of 20 pixels. If you have any questions, guys, leave them down in the comments below. I will answer them. And yep, it's looking way more like what we want it to look. So this is how it looks right now. But we need to switch up the icons, let them get aligned and all that. So that's the next part. Hmm. Now let's start with this right here, this SAM code, this H4. So say dot sidebar, H4. So for the H4, I'm gonna give it a color of, yeah, this kind of grayish feel. After that, give it a margin top of 0 and a margin bottom of 20 pixels. Yep, looking much, much better. Much, 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 much better. Sidebar again. Let's deal with this anchor tags. For sure, we have to change the color because it's looking horrible. I hate this anchor tag colors. They should have found something better to actually even put a nice color to it, but probably they wanted to make it really like obvious. But yeah, that color is, I don't even know if it's purple or blue or it's just horrible. And for sure we need to give this some display blocks so they can actually, yep, align. And we give it a width of 100%. And then line height. The line height is going to be 45 pixels. And yep, some text decoration. That those line underneath this color, they need to go away and they're gone. The next part, yeah, I think it needs some padding left. Some padding left of 40 pixels. And also box size and border box so they whenever we start, if we increase anything, it's actually increasing inside the container, it's not increasing outside. So we need to add this border box or box sizing. And yeah, we'll give it border box. Now, so this is how it's looking like. Yep, it's looking nice. We're getting there, we're getting there. So now we just need to still deal with this a little bit, but we're getting there. What else we need is for this, you know what, I'm gonna give them some hover effects. So I'll say dot sidebar anchor tag hover. Just give it a background of 19B. When I'm saying these numbers, you would never know it's colors I'm actually talking about. But yep. So yeah, we have the hover effect right now. Now let's get to the label. Hash sidebar underscore BTN. What we need to do right here is we give it a Z index of 1. And for sure we change the color to white. You can see it right here. Now you see I'm hovering on it and we need to give it a cursor pointer so it actually shows some respect and gives us a pointer. So you see, now we have the pointer. And then for sure font size of 20 pixels. Wow, what's happening here? Yeah, just add a margin of 5 pixel and 0. Now let's add a hover effect to this too. So when we actually hover on it, it actually shows some respect and gives us some color. Let us switch it up a little bit. Say label hash sidebar. I should have just copied this instead of writing it again, but you know, whatever. I already started. Was watching today Winter Soldier and Falcon. Really good show, I have to say. And yeah, for the hover effect, I'll say color 19B3. Probably it's the same color as this. I'm not gonna complicate it and make different colors. So I'm just gonna copy that, paste it. So now when we hover on it, it actually shows that. We're gonna add some transition to make it look better when you actually hover on it. And what else? What else? What else? So now we need to, we're going to use a selector, and this selector is going to target some of the child elements. So what we need to do is we need to go right here to the HTML. And for the HTML, I want to add like a check because we're not using JavaScript for this. So this is why we need to add this check. So in the HTML, I want to add something like an input, and I'll put it outside the header. Just put an input right here. The input type is not going to be text, it's going to be checkbox. And you can see it right here. This is the checkbox. And after the checkbox, what I want is I want like I'll give it an ID for sure. We'll call it ID, call the ID check. Yeah, check, and I'll give it a class too of checker. This is without JS, so yeah, that's why we need to do this. So just switch it up a little bit and make it work the way we want it to work. Now, the next thing we need to do is, yeah, so I'm gonna use the selector here. So I'll say dot check, hashtag for the ID we just created, and I'll put checked. And then we use this selector right here, dot sidebar. And what I want to do right now is I'm gonna put left, and you see what I'm trying to do right here. 250, 250 pixels. Now after that, I'm gonna say and right now if I click here, you can see what happened right now. So that's why I put the checked, and this hash check is this is the ID from this right here, from this input that we just got here. And yeah, so this is how we're gonna make it look a little bit more responsive. And so what I'm planning on doing is whenever I reduce the size of the screen, I want it to automatically look like this. But you can always click the button to make it look like that if the screen is bigger. So that's the whole plan of this. And yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. Hope you all are doing good. It's the first stream. I will be doing way more, many more streams because yeah, it's always good. If you have any questions, put it in the chat. I'm very happy to answer them. And you know what? Let's finish this shit. Oh, oops. Sorry guys. See, this is the problem of live streams. Times you get a little bit too excited. And you know what? The next thing is I'll say hash check. You know, I'm gonna uncheck it first. I maybe check it back later. Let's say checked. Then we use the selector again. Dot sidebar. And we select the anchor tag and also the span. And then we'll say display none. After that, what I want us to do is I'm just gonna copy this right here. Copy it, paste it right here. And I want us to like, for sure, we'll give it a margin left. A margin left of 220 pixels. So now when it's checked, you see what I want right here? This is what we want to get. But for sure, you're seeing the hover effect is going crazy. So we need to stop that too. But you can see now, this is what we want. So when we click this, we'll be able to actually reduce it and increase it. That's the whole point of this. But don't worry, we're not gonna have this ugly looking thing here. When we're done, this will basically just disappear, and then we'll be using this to actually do it. You see, like this. Yep, so the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna add a font size, give it 20 pixels, and also a width of 80. And don't worry about this right here. We're gonna fix this. It's not gonna look like this. It's going to look way more better than that. Okay, so now we're getting there, we're getting there. So the next thing I'm gonna do is for the content, I want to actually add something to it. So we created a content below. Let me just show you in the HTML. We had this empty div here that is called content. Gave it the class of content. So what we're going to put in the content is just an image. For your own project, you can use whatever you want. You can use whatever image you want. I'm just going to use my YouTube channel's header, but like, yeah, you can use whatever image you want for sure. And you can increase the size. Okay, you know what? Let me just put the image so you can understand what I'm saying. No, not margin. See, this is my problem with VS Code sometimes. It'll be thinking that it knows what you want, but it's totally wrong. The AI sometimes be tripping. And then a background. And guys, leave a question if you have any question. Leave a comment, whatever. Just let me know how it's going and everything. 250 pixels. Oh, okay, now I'm tripping. Now the background is going to be URL, and we get it from our images. And okay, now this image stuff, I don't know why you know what, I have to change the name of this image right here. And yeah, actually this is good for you guys to see. Sometimes when the image has like numbers and all these different characters, then it starts behaving weird. So I'm just gonna change the name. So now I rename it. This is the good thing about VS Code, that you can actually just do it from here. Now it should work out. It's just gonna erase everything, save it, but the image is not there. Why isn't it there? Why isn't it there? Oh yeah, I didn't close it. But it's still not there. So we need to create some space for this image. Let's say background position center, and also background size. The background size will make it cover. But it's still not showing because we haven't set a height. The image needs some height. So yeah, we'll give it 60 VH. If you wanted to take the whole screen, you can give it 100, and voila, we can see our image right here. So if I gave it 100, it would take everything, but I don't want it to take everything, because ideally I would want like something else to be below this. Like ideally I would want something right here. But yeah, you can see it's looking nice. We have this, but you see the space right here. We need to fix this. Wow, VHS. What's happening? VH. Now we'll say hash check. Checked. And then we'll use our selector again. It's like this selector is on slow motion. Whenever I type it, it takes like a second before it shows up. And then we'll say margin left to fix that space that shows up right here. Say margin left of 50 pixels. You can see it's gone now. So it's working. Yeah. Yeah, someone just asked me a question that do you think it's possible to get a job? Um, do you think it's possible to get a job just with HTML and CSS while learning JavaScript? You could get a job, but it would be like intern jobs. That's for sure. And most of the time, this kind of intern jobs, you don't get paid. That's the only thing. That's from Diego. You can get a job, but it will be intern jobs. If you're very lucky, you get paid. But most of the time, if I'm really being frank with you, you won't get paid. You'll be working for free. But the good thing is you're going to be gaining experience. You actually have something to put on your resume. So if you get jobs like that, I think those jobs are good. You do that for like a year, and then you have like a year experience working in the real world. So that's the good thing about actually just trying internships, especially when you're learning JavaScript. Because the thing again with JavaScript is that for you to really get a job, you need HTML, CSS, JavaScript. You need to be able to build responsive websites. I'm actually going to be bringing out a tutorial for that, like a whole tutorial on how to make a website responsive, because that's extremely important. But you need to also learn a framework. You need to learn a framework like React or Vue to add to it. If so basically to get a job in, and this is what most people have to do, you can always be an exception, but to get a job most of the time you need to know HTML, CSS, you need to be able to build responsive websites, and you need to understand JavaScript and for sure React. With these five things, for sure you will get a junior developer job. And you need projects and all that, but if you know these five things, even if you're learning React, I think you could still get something. But yeah, with only HTML and CSS, you could get an intern, which is really good. Like don't sleep on that. An intern job is not bad at all because you actually get experience. Yeah, really nice question actually. Yeah, that's from Diego. Really important, and actually it's a question that a lot of people don't really understand. Yeah, shout out to Diego. Yeah, man, no worries. Exactly, man. You get the experience. That's the most important thing. Even though it's unpaid, you get the experience, which is, believe me, it's that is actually priceless. Real world experience. Because when you check job applications, they're always asking for 2, 3 years. To get like a lot of money, you need like 5 years of experience. So if you have like 1, 2, even though it's working for free, you're getting there. Yeah, man. Diego, no worries, man. Great question. So now for the check, let's remove that check. Let's remove that ugly check. Just give it a display of none. Save that and yep, it's gone. It has disappeared. So now the next thing we need to do is we will do some media query to make it not look the way it's looking like this, because this is horrible. I don't want it to look like that. But before we do that, I need to add some transitions to this hover effect so it actually goes in smoothly, because now it's just looking a little bit too, like, it doesn't look as nice. When we add transition, you see what I mean. So what we do next is, yeah, for the login button, we'll add some transition of, yeah, transition of like 0.5 seconds and transition property of the background. And now we should see some, wait, what's happening here? Transition 0.5 seconds. Okay, let me add the same for the sidebar. Just gonna copy it. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe I have a bug or so. Okay, it's looking better now. Yeah, so you can see the way it looks. And yeah, why isn't this transition working? Okay, this is working, but I need to check the buttons. Logging underscore, logout underscore button. And hopefully I don't have a bug or something because, but you know what? Yeah, I'll get back to that. Yeah, for the sidebar anchor tag, we need to add the same thing. Yep, you see it's more smoother. The other time was just way too fast. And you see if I add like 10 seconds, then it's like on a slow mode. It's still too fast. Oh, I added one. Oh, you can't add 10 seconds. You see something I learned today. So you can only add from 0.1 to 0.9. And you can see this is extra slow. Now we'll add it again for our label button. But what we need to do is, wow, I forgot the sidebar icon. So let me just add that sidebar icon. I will give it a padding right of 10 pixels. Yep. So now you see how it's looking. And yep, we add here too. And everything is, yep, the transition is working well. For the content, I'm going to give it a transition because when we move like this, you see it's moving really fast. But with a transition, we can actually make it move with more style, with more swagger. You can see it's moving a little bit slower, maybe a little bit too slow. Put it on like 4 seconds. Yeah, it's the same. Whatever you want, but you get why it's there. And yep. Now let's look at this. Yeah, and this is what we want. So we got it. So the next thing we need to do is we need to add, and you can put your links here. We have on the href, you just put the link you want this to go to, and yeah, you're done with that. Now the next thing we need to do is, yep, we do some media query. So we'll say add media query, say max width, and this is not, this is like, let me know in the comments below if you want us to do this part two, which is make this website extra responsive. So for every devices. Here I'm not making it responsive for every device. I just want it that when the screen is this size, that it actually doesn't look like this because this is horrible. Say 700 pixel. And I'll say dot logout button. We'll give it a float of left and a margin of 0. Margin top. Yep, you can see now it's switching because that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to switch when it's this screen size. So we can still see the button if you want to sign up or log in. The next part is going to be the sidebar underscore btn. We'll say the display to none because we don't want to see it. Exactly. So now it's gone. Now we'll say dot sidebar. We'll switch it up a little bit. Say left minus 250. That's not it. But yeah, you'll get why I'm doing this because I want this space. Whenever it's this screen size, I want it to be like, you know what, we'll see. We'll see. Yep, dot content. Margin left 50 pixels. Okay, so maybe this is not actually needed. Nope, let me remove this too. Okay. The next thing we're gonna do is say the sidebar dot sidebar a the anchor tag and then the span. We'll give it a display of none. Then dot sidebar the anchor tag. Give it a font size of, no, we don't need to give it a font size. It's gonna be the same. Just give it a margin left of 220 pixels. Now we can see them, and a width of 80 pixels. Yeah, so you can see that it switches, and this is what we want. Now it's looking like this. You can still use this button to reduce and to make the navigation smaller and bigger. And then when you reduce it, it automatically gets smaller. So this is what we wanted. And for this transition on this content, I think I'm going to reduce it because I don't like the way it's so slow. So for the content, I'll put like 1 second. And yep. Yeah. Okay, maybe I'll increase it a little bit, maybe 2 seconds. It might be 3. I'm just letting you know it might be 3, but I think 2 should do it. Yeah. Yeah, I'm adding 3. Let's make it 3. I still want it to have some swagger, like, yeah. Actually, you know what? Wow. I'm just gonna leave it at 2. So yeah, you can see that we're practically done. This might have a part 2 depending on how much you guys like it, where we make this fully responsive. But you see here that this disappears. We can still do this with the button right here. And yeah, it disappears. And it appears again, it disappears. And then you can see that these buttons right here, they switch to this side so we can still see them. And yeah, so if you want to sign up, if you want to log in. And as I said earlier, this could be a really nice portfolio website. You have it if you have a blog, you could have some words here, you could make it longer, you could, and this length is 100, so if you want this to be fixed, it could stay fixed and just be there. And if you don't, you can just leave it a different way. So yeah, that's about it for this. Depending on how much you guys like this video, I will do a part 2 to make it completely responsive, and we could even switch it up and even like make a blog with this. Yeah, so guys, let me know how you like this video, if you enjoyed it. And I'm just gonna check something real quick for this button right here, for the logout button. hmm I don't think I added a logout button hover effect. Yeah, I don't think, where's the logout button hover effect? See, yeah, I didn't add it. So let's quickly just add the logout button hover effect. Because I was like, yeah, it's not looking like. I had to, why I checked is I wanted to see if I mistakenly put the same color for the hover effect. And then we say hover, and then we'll just say background, not background size, just background, and we give it this color of 0D9 DBB. So yep, that's it. And now yeah, you can see the hover. The color is not that different. You know what? Let me switch up the color so it's super super clear that it's been hovered on. Wow. It's like I even got it closer to the original color. But let me try something darker. I know, let me switch this up a little bit. Yeah, so now you can see that, yeah, it's really being hovered on. And yep, we're done with this. Really like this live streams. Let me know if you want more live streams. And you know what? Give me topics, give me things you want us to actually build or discuss in this channel, and for sure we'll get it done. Yeah, I want to shout out Diego again for the nice question he had. And yeah, like the video, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you haven't been here before, I release content weekly on just how to make yourself a better programmer. And yeah, that's it for this tutorial. And I'm going to wrap things up and I'll keep things moving. And I'll see you all in the next YouTube video. Peace out, stay safe, and keep on learning.